Okay, welcome to day 69 of trying to become a SOC analyst. On the LetsDefend platform, we've got our high severity ticket, SOC 126, suspicious new auto-run value detected, classed as malware. So if we have a look at the alert, it's on endpoint KatharinePRD. It's a file name I won't try to pronounce, or maybe I will. OliwciaPrivInstaller.exe. We've been given a hash, but the device action has been classed as cleaned. So let's have a look and see what we can figure out about this one. So we've got the hash that we can take to virus total. And so 59 out of 72 vendors have flagged it as malicious, and persistence, it's using WMI. What have we got? Some Yara rules. Okay, family, password stealer, Trojan. Okay, so password stealer, Trojan. So something we definitely don't want on the network. We've got our endpoint. It has been flagged as clean, but we do want to double check. Actually, while we've got the log page open, I've got the logs here. I'll just look at the logs, see what activity has been coming out of this IP. So there's one connection, so SSL. Okay, so just to a domain name. Okay. So now let's have a look at the endpoint. Actually, we've got email security open as well, so we'll look for Catherine, sorry. Our date. This must be from another alert because I've already deleted it. And this date doesn't line up with our alert. It's a credit card attachment. I know that doesn't line up with our dates, but I just want to open it up and see whether or not 7-2. See whether or not it is the file that was cleaned. Because sometimes with LetsDefend, it has a bad habit of the dates not actually lining up correctly. Unzip 7-2 infected. Okay, so that's credit card. So that's something different. Executable. Let's get rid of that so I don't accidentally infect myself. Okay, so that's definitely a malicious email that's been allowed, but as I said, the dates don't line up, so we'll try to avoid that. We do have this connection to a domain name, and if we look at our virus total, can we see any C2 addresses or domains under relations? So this pulls the IP, and the 9 domains, none of them are matching that domain that we saw there, so that's fine. So at this point, I'd be fairly confident to say that it was contained, but the last thing we want to do is have a look on the endpoint. KatharinePRD. Okay, so here's this credit card that we're seeing. Again, the dates aren't lining up. Last login, Feb 28, 2021, but this process has been running. Okay, she's on a Linux machine. So this has been running by root credit card, and that's just their terminal logon and Chrome. Network activity, that's that domain name that we saw. No command history and the browser history. So again, this is one of those ones where I think we're looking at an endpoint that has multiple alerts spawned off it, because as we saw in the mailbox, there was an email that I'd previously already ran an alert on and deleted. There was a definitely malicious credit card process in the email as well, with a date that doesn't line up with our date, and the process is running on the endpoint. So, we'd need to contain this endpoint, and it would be, the reasoning would be because of this credit card process. But with LetsDefend, we need to sort of narrow in on just our ticket time frame, which is Feb 14, 2021, not September 2020, which is that credit card malicious file that seems to have been executed. So although we are saying that this looks like it's a compromised endpoint, I'm going to, and maybe this will bite me, ignore that and focus in purely on this time frame. So we will create our alert, start the playbook. So I guess we're going to go with other, because the unknown or unexpected outgoing network traffic, I think that domain name, there's no sign of it being unexpected or unknown. It's in her browser history. So let's go with other. So it was cleaned, so it was quarantined. We definitely know it was malicious. And did anyone access the C2 address? So we were looking at the logs, and the only log that we saw was that amnesia domain, and looking at the virus total, contacted domains, contacted URLs, that isn't listed as one of their command and control addresses. The IP is 23227. We'll just double check that. 23. So there's no 23. Oh, maybe. Where was it? Oh, I just had the logs open, didn't I? Where are they? Oh, here. 23227. 23227. No, so it's not listed as any of the command and control addresses. So I'm confident to say that it was not accessed. For the hashes, we can put the hash from the alert, and just the name of the file. Also, just interesting point. The endpoint for KatharinePRD is a Linux machine, and the suspected file is a exe. So, I mean, unless she's running it in Wine, the chances of it being ran on her endpoint are probably quite slim anyway as well. So just more confirmation that it probably wasn't ran on that endpoint. Okay, so we'll put that through. I'll pause the video and write up a note. Okay, so I've written up some notes. We've mapped it for the MITRE technique, boot or logon auto start execution, ingress tool transfer. Tried to log in the 5W style. We've got malicious activity was detected on host KatharinePRD. Their event involved a suspicious executable named something installer.exe detected on the endpoint. What? The alert SOC 126 suspicious new Autorun value detected triggered after the file PRIVInstaller.exe and the hash was identified attempting to establish persistence through an Autorun mechanism. The file is confirmed malicious based on threat intelligence and malware analysis. Endpoint protection detected the file and automatically removed it before further activity could occur. The when, we've got the timestamp. The where on the host name, KatharinePRD. The 172 internal address. We've got the file name. So malicious file detected on the endpoint. Network logs show only one outbound connection to IP address 23.227, which, while I was writing up my notes, I double checked in virus total. It's not flagged as malicious. Why? The alert was triggered due to the creation of suspicious Autorun persistence entry associated with the malicious executable. Although the endpoint is running Linux and the file system is a Windows executable, the file itself is confirmed malicious and therefore the alert presents a true positive detection. Endpoint security successfully cleaned the file before it could execute or establish persistence. No additional signs of compromise were observed on the system. So, with the last section, obviously we did see some signs of compromise on the endpoint, but like I said, the dates weren't matching up, so we do need to put our blinders on a bit and ignore that, as I think it relates to another alert. And the other strange thing with this alert is the alert title is that it detected a new Autorun value detected. However, the chances of them running the exe on their Linux endpoint is probably quite rare that it was actually creating an Autorun entry. I mean, they could have been using Wine or some emulation software, I guess, but we didn't see any signs of a program running on the endpoint. So I just think it's interesting to point that out. Let's put it through and see how we went. I made a lot of assumptions on this one because we had a lot of dates that weren't lining up. So let's close the alert. So we were going to go true positive. Put in our notes and close it. Okay, we're on a 60-day streak. And okay, so we did get it right. So a lesson for that one might be to learn that I've learnt is probably a lesson that I learned a long time ago on LetsDefend, is you do need to sometimes put your blinders on and focus purely on the date of the alert, because there's many alerts that are all on the one endpoint. So in fact, we were talking about there was an email in the inbox for Katharine that was deleted, and I think if we go through my history here, yeah, that was yesterday's alert. That's why it was already triggered as deleted, and the dates for that was March 2021. So you really need to just narrow in on the date of the alert and try and ignore the rest of the noise. That's just a lesson specifically for LetsDefend. Otherwise, still don't quite understand the auto run triggering on the Linux endpoint, but I mean, we got everything correct, so I'm happy with that. And let's see what we can figure out on day 70 tomorrow. See you then.